Hi lovely people, I'm Rachel and welcome back to the Chronicles of Yarnia, or the Planners Who Hook podcast. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer, welcome if you're new here, and this is Tom, who likes crochet as well, because he likes to squish it, don't you Tombles? He has so many names, Tom Tom, Satnav, because of Tom Tom, Tom Bombadil, don't you? You're going to sit there and purr, there's a good boy. So it has been way too long since I last recorded one of these, and I'm sorry, my goal of recording each month just went out the window really, but I'm here now, which is great. I'll talk a little bit more about the reasons why in kind of at the end after the crochet and yarny stuff, but yeah, this is a podcast about crochet, knitting and generally living a colourful life. So I thought what I would do is, because it has been so long, I decided to grab my most recent finished things, and then the projects that I've been working on in the last week or so, and then some of my recent stash enhancement activities. S.E.A. See, everybody needs to see stash enhancement activities. It works. So let's dig in, shall we? So the first thing that I have to show you is, appropriately enough, something rainbow coloured. And this is the Rain Boom Wrap. And if I hold it up, you can see. Isn't it glorious? I absolutely love this. It is... oh, I can't even remember the patterns by now. Isn't that awful? I am so unprepared. I'll tell you what it's made from and I'll look at the pattern. So it is made from Shepshes Stone Washed, and it was, and River Washed, and it's the little sample pack that they have, or well, the little minis pack, and you get the teeny tiny little balls of wool with a ball band as well. They're amazing. And this uses every colour that was in the pack, and it's constructed in like 2 triangles effectively. Now let me look up where I got the pattern, because I have to give credit where it's due. I'm so sorry guys, I am a little bit more prepared. Let me just throw that there, you can admire it whilst I look up. So Rain Boom Wrap, okay, here we go. It's, of course, it's Miss Nerys. Oh, I should have remembered that. So it is a free pattern on her blog, or you can buy it on Ravelry. And I would say it took me, I don't know, not that long really. It goes quite quickly once you get going. And it's just so satisfying to work through the rainbow. But yeah, I think I had this done over the course of about a week and a half. Now the original does have a fringe on it. I don't like fringes on things, so I did leave it off, but I'm not sure whether it might just need something. But really I made this for throwing around my shoulders of an evening when I'm sat on the sofa and I just want something a little bit snuggly, but not like a full-on scarf or blanket, or well blanket over me, but just something nice. Or when I'm sat in bed reading or knitting, as one does, again it just gets thrown on around me, and it's just really lovely. Although it's coming off now because it is about 88% humidity today. It is way too hot out there. Well, no, it's not hot actually. Oh, I'm doing that British thing where we talk about the weather, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, it's only about 19 degrees I think, but it's just so humid. It's overcast and sticky, and so never mind. So yes, so that is my Rain Boom Wrap, and holding it now I'm just like, yeah, I forgot how nice it is. It has been blocked, and I find that this yarn, it softens up massively once it has been washed, and it is just, it's lovely. It is quite heavy. It's heavier than most things I would wear, but yeah. And there is part of me that just goes, that I want to make an entire rainbow blanket in this stuff, because that would just be awesome, wouldn't it? It'd be so much fun. So that's my first finished project. My other two, or I suppose if I can count socks as 2 finished objects, it's 4 because I've got 2 pairs of socks. I have my daffodil socks are finished. So these are using Beehive Yarns daffodil colourway, and the mini, I can't remember where I got the mini from for the contrast. Yeah, I think that is a Beehive Yarns as well. I told you it's been so long and I've not been writing things down, and I'm sorry guys. Anyway, so yes, daffodil colourway, and I think this was done for the Flower Power Fund. And I did my first Fish Lips Kiss heel on them, and I really like this heel to knit. These were knit toe up, and they went on every set of needles that I had. I started magic loop, got cross with it, switched to small circular to go round and round and round, got to the heel and was like, I can't do it on a small circular, so I think we went to DPNs at that point. And then yeah, it just kind of carried on from there really. Don't mind bopping myself on the nose with this sock blocker, but yeah, I absolutely love these. I knit these whilst we were away on holiday in around Easter. So they at Centre Parks, and they do just make me think of Centre Parks, which is lovely. I love how projects take on the memories of where you are and what you're up to when you're working on them. Well, for the most part I do. So yes, and I used super stretchy bind off method, which basically has an extra yarn over in between each bit, so they are super stretchy and they're lovely. And I've not worn them very much because it's not been really woolen sock weather. It's been too hot. I've been in sandals, but I'm looking forward to getting some wear of those come autumn. Then my other finished project is another pair of socks, and these are just some shorty socks. Because basically I got bored of knitting them and decided I wanted to do some short ones. So these I'm not quite so happy with. These I did 2 at a time magic loop because I really wanted to try doing 2 at a time socks and see how it went. And I've ended up with, I've got train tracks going up here on both sides of the sock of where it was on the cable. Now obviously it's my first time having done it. It would improve with practice, but I'm a bit naffed off with it, to be honest with you. And the other thing is that although these are obviously from the same ball of yarn, look at the difference in the colours. There's a lot more of the dark in this one than this one, and even on the other sides as well. Yeah, so because I'd split my skein into 2 50 grams, obviously. So yeah, so this is from, the yarn is from Knit Cosmic Strings, and it is lovely. It's called Blooms of Gion, G-I-O-N. And I love the colour, I really do, but I'm a little bit unhappy about how darker that one feels to that one. The mini is from, that'll be one from Lamington Lass yarn. She does lovely little minis for contrast heels and toes. Again, Fish Lips Kiss heel, but it didn't come out quite as well. There's a bit of a gap going on here, so I don't know if you can sort of see there. Yeah, so they're okay, but I'm a bit disappointed in them, to be perfectly honest with you. Now I do have, and then being a short sock, I do have about 47 grams I think I've got left of the main colourway. So I think I'm going to work it in with something else and try and just put some, make it into a better sock really. These will be great for around the house. Yeah, so there you go. I made a mistake on the cuff on this one as well, so they're just imperfect. And do you know what? Oh, I'm getting into life stuff now rather than later, but it kind of goes here. As I said to you before, I do like the way that things take on the memories of what was going on around the time that you're making something. but these kind of have a really sad memory because I lost a friend very suddenly back in March, and this is what I was working on at the time, and so I have that association with them, so that's a bit sad really, a bit rubbish. But yes, which is why I want to use the rest of the yarn to make something beautiful as well. Not that these aren't beautiful, but they're tinged with a bit of that. Anyway, with them being called the Blooms of Giant, I've ended up calling them my blooming socks because that just made me smile. So the final little finished object I have for you is something that's actually planner related, as many of you will know if you've watched my channel for a while, or if you are if you've seen my podcast before, you'll know that I am a planner girl and that I make stickers for a living. It's awesome. But I've also recently, I made a little crochet paperclip, and I made it go with the Cocoa Daisy August kit, which is beautiful. Let me just give you a look at this. And it's all bees and daisies, and it's just lovely. So if we flick onto there, look at the artwork on these. Just look at that, so pretty. Anyway, this has a bees and daisy theme for the month of August, and I decided to make, oh, with a little bit of Alice in Wonderland thrown in, and I decided to make a little crochet paperclip, which is up here. Just get your focus, come on camera, there we go. And it's just a little bee on a daisy flower on a clip, and it goes perfectly with the kit. So that is my other little finished object. It's made with Shepshi's Sweet Treat, which was the Maxi Bonbon, which is, if I just grab it, let me just grab some, I've got it down here at the side of me. Here we go. It is, well, so it is basically a thread worked with a 1mm hook, which is ridiculously stabby, basically. It is tiny, teeny tiny. Let me find it. And show you, because I mean it's so funny because I normally use probably a 4mm most of the time. Oh, I've not got my 1mm in there. Never mind, I'll show you my 1.5 because this is also very stabby. But look how tiny. It's so tiny that it has to, and stabby, that it has to come with a cover to stop it poking through everything, because yeah, it is super fine. Definitely work to do underneath big lights. So I also put some of those in my shop, and a few people have bought those, which is very lovely. So I've been having fun making lots of daisies and bees, and sending them out to various far-flung corners of the world, it seems. So yes, so thank you for that if you have purchased one of those. It is very much appreciated, and I'm really been enjoying doing that. So that's it for finished projects. My next section, I thought I would just have a little chat about the things that I've been working on most recently. Now, if you've watched my podcast before, you'll know I end up with a very long list of current works in progress. At the moment, I've abandoned anything that is cardigan or blanket related because it's too hot. And I've been working mostly on shawls. It seems to be the summer of shawl. And I did this last summer as well. I ended up making what did I make last year? Lost in Time, and oh, what was the other one? It was one by Deidre. Namaqualand, that was the one, the Namaqualand shawl. So this summer has been the same, and I've also got not just crochet shawls, I've been knitting two knitted shawls, and I'm really enjoying them. So the first one that I will show you is living in my gorgeous Sybil the Sheep bag, which I adore. This is from Love to Sew, and oh, it's just so pretty. And I've got a few pins on here. I've ended up going down the enamel pin rabbit hole. Yes, there's a few there. They're quite nice. But this project bag is just awesome. It is so well made. It's beautifully lined. It's got a little bit of like the stitch detail on. Just lovely. And it's perfect for what's living inside, which is the Impressionists Mystery Knit-Along. Now the knit-along itself has now finished. It is a paid for pattern, and I'm just going to get myself sorted, and here we go. This is what I've done. I am so proud of this. So this is the first two parts, the first two clues. Obviously because of the needles it's bowing a bit, but if I just get to the centre and you can see the patterning. I am unbelievably proud of this. It has been a labour of love and it is just stunning. Now, anyone who's made this will have gone, Rach, yeah, I have a huge mistake in the middle of my lace. Can you see it? I bet you can. If you know what you're looking at, you'll know where it is. Somehow I managed to reverse the right and the wrong sides. And at the point where I realised, one, there was no way I was going back and redoing all of that lace. I couldn't rip back just the few rows that were wrong because it's lace. I was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at or how to do that. I would have had to go all the way back to the garter stitch, picking it up. I'd have probably lost it all, to be perfectly honest with you. So I decided to just leave it and let it be a little feature. But I just love this. This is knit with Nora Jarns. Sorry, Tracy. Nora George yarns, and it is, let me find I'll get the balls out in a sec. So it is her silk singles base, which is 70% superwash merino, 30% silk, and I have the colourways Apple Blossom. Isn't it beautiful? This is the Apple Blossom, and it's this gorgeous green with little speckles of pink and darker greens and yellows. Then I have Cherry Blossom, which is the pale pink, again with gorgeous speckles. And it's got a little bit of a halo on this yarn. It is amazing to work with. And then finally Berry Kiss, and this is the darkest one, and this one will be, the edge of the shawl will have most of that in. I think I've only got a few rows of the Cherry Blossom to go now, and then there is another, have I got the right side there? She says yes. And then there is like another eyelet section to go, again striping in, and then I think the edge is mostly in that dark Berry Kiss colour. Isn't it beautiful though? So it's big, it's a long crescent shaped shawl. I think, if I remember rightly, let me just check who the designer is. I think I know, but I don't want to say and get it wrong because I'm just in one of those where I just forget things at the moment. Precious M. Carl. It's Helen Stewart. So it's Helen Stewart. It's, yeah, and the pattern's on Ravelry, so you can get it there. And it is just gorgeous. So I've been thoroughly loving that. Glad that I finished the lace though, because that's the first time I've actually knit lace. And although it's, you know, it's just get the pattern repeat for the row that you're on in your head, I did find it quite tricky. And, you know, I've done stitches and things that I've never done before, so it's been quite a challenge. My other knitted shawl, and I've got in here, I have lots and lots of lovely squishy rainbow minis. Look at these, aren't they fabulous? These are my monthly subscription that I get from Cuddle Bums, and I get the DK weight, and I get 5 20-gram minis each month, and I'm knitting with them. the Dotted Rays shawl by Stephen West. So it starts off with the blue, moves into the green, then the yellow, and I'm in orange at the moment. And then it has these eyelets effect as well, because you sort of do what I now know are short rows, and sort of go back and forth, and that's what's creating the asymmetrical shape. So again, this is going to be just the biggest squishy shawl for winter. It's going to be amazing. I don't know if I'm going to end up using every month's subscription. I mean, I've not used all the blue by any stretch of the imagination, and I think for the yellow I used 2.5, so I used like 50 grams of the 100. So I've worked out that if I do the number of repeats that are in the pattern, the last one should use up all of the colour, all of the yarn for that colour. But yeah, after orange I've got pink. And then the most recent one has been the white, so I'm kind of intrigued to see what's coming after white, and I may just hold fire on that. Found it a really easy pattern. It's got what I now know is an I-cord edging, which is very fun and very easy to do actually. It's like French knitting that I did as a kid and my daughter does now. So she loves making things out of that. So that's yeah, that's really fun. That's kind of been my, again, very easy, soothing knitting, just lots and lots of lovely garter stitch, which is so nice to do. And it's interesting because I've only really knit socks up until now, or in stocking stitch I should say. It's interesting seeing how garter stitch shows off a yarn a little bit differently. So I've been quite enjoying that, been good. Right, coffee break. And yes, I'm on coffee today, not tea. Oh, decaf though. That's better. Right, my other things that I have to show you are also shawls, but these are all crochet. So I've got back into the Shepshes Whirls, and I have in my stash, I have a few, but there's always room for more. And I am currently working with this glorious thing, which also had these colours at the start. Look at this. This is Rosewater Cocktail, and I am working on the Wisteria Way shawl, which is by Lisa's Attic. Look at that. So it starts off with the yellow, because the yellow, not quite so fond of the yellow. Don't really do yellow. Yellow and me, we don't get on. Me and blue, we get on very well. But it's just so much fun, and the joy of working through and waiting for the next colour change and seeing it change, and then, you know, gradually getting there. Because I mean, I'm now at the stage where there's not much yellow left in the bit that I'm working on now. It has now got to the point where it's mostly this kind of corally pink. I think we've just got one strand of yellow in, and then it's going to be all the glorious pinks and magenta through to the blue, and then this dark on the outside. And I have got the whirlette that matches, just in case I wanted to make it really, really big. The pattern is fabulous actually. I looked at it and went, what on earth? Because basically each sort of section running down, I'm making the, it comes and there's two options. You can do a triangle one where you increase, increase, increase and decrease, or you can just do a ever increasing triangle, and that's the one that I decided to do. But basically you end up with these sections. So you can see here, there's like this bit here, it's like a trellis effect, and then there's a section that's like, well, she calls it the eyelet lace, and then again more trellis and V-stitching and things in there. So there's lots and lots of different sections, and you're adding on the next section each time at the edge that increases whilst one edge stays the same. It's actually quite nice. So when I first looked at it, because it was written with kind of abbreviations for these sections, so until I got the hang of what the section was, I kept having to look back. So I would say the block that's just yellow was quite slow going, but now, yeah, it's just flying. And now I'm just checking for what the change is at the end. So really, really enjoying that. I'm using a 3.75mm hook on this one because I wanted it to be quite open and lacy. So I'm just getting comfy. Oh, that's better. So that is kind of a nice little pick up and get on with project. Then I still have my crochet between the lines on the go. It's another whirl one. I'm all about the whirls for crochet at the moment because I've been using them up. So this is Nighttime Bubbles and Melting Macaron. That has been rewound, as you can probably tell. And I have got, oh, there goes my hook. 3.25 for this one because why not? This is as much as I've done. Not done that much really. This has been sitting in the car with me actually, and it's been a pick up, do a quick row when I'm on school run, but you can kind of get the idea of how the colour change is going to happen. And you know, I really like the pattern. I think it's very, very clever, but it is basically rows and rows and rows of double crochet or single crochet if you're in the States. Yeah, in fingering weight yarn. I have a long way to go. I haven't got stitch marker in and I've just pulled out some stitches. That's really upsetting. Let me move my stitch marker. Oh dear. So it is a bit of it's going to be a labour of love, this one. I think it'd be a good pattern for a really long car journey. And we do have one coming up when we go away next month, so I think it might come with me then. I'll see. We'll see. It's kind of getting the odd row, but I'm not loving it at the moment. So my final little shawl that I'm working on, because you can never have too many shawls, can you? Anyway, is the Parallel Lines shawl by Joanne Scrace and Kat Golding at the Crochet Project. Paid for pattern, and it's living in this lovely, lovely little bag, which is also one of my recent acquisitions. It is from Yarn Magpie, and it came with, I'll just do this now, it came with this sort of matching skein of yarn, which is gorgeous. Not quite sure what it's going to grow up to be yet, but yes, it's very beautiful. And yeah, so this one I am using Sea Breeze Tees. Gorgeous, gorgeous colours. And this is quite fun. This is a asymmetrical shawl. It's got a bit of a bend on it. It's going to need some really good blocking, but it has, so it has these sections of sort of solid crochet here, where you're working into the back loop only, and then it has this lace here, and if I just stretch that out, I mean, that is going to block beautifully. And so it's just, yeah, sections of lace and the lines, and you can sort of see, this is one of those whirls where I was like, it's not changing colour, and then you sort of put it against where you started from and realise that actually it is changing colour. Just very, very slowly. I think I'm getting into the grey now. And yeah, and then we get through into this beautiful jade colour, which I'm very excited to get to. Just working my way through the grey first. So that again has been quite a nice one, and yeah, I just had to jot down a couple of notes for the repeats, which I've shoved in the back of my planner, and I can just whirl away with it. And I'm using a 3.5mm hook there. So those are my works in progress, things I'm enjoying making at the moment. Now what I do need is to get a pair of socks on the go, because I haven't got any socks on the needles at the moment, other than a pair that I kind of abandoned a bit because the yarn started pooling and I didn't like it. But I'd done that much and I was like, oh, I'm not ripping out all of this. But I've just not picked it up. So yeah, I really fancy making some socks with some sort of pattern on. I don't fancy doing just a plain vanilla sock. So I've been searching around on Ravelry and looking for some nice patterns, but if you've got any that you'd recommend, preferably with very little purling, because I don't like purling. Just don't. No. But yeah, if you've got anything that's like maybe slip stitch. I wondered as well, I've got some beautiful striped yarn, self-striping sock yarn, that I thought I might use, and I was thinking about trying to find a pattern where when the stripe changes, when the colour changes, that it kind of accentuates it. So if you've come across anything like that, leave a link down below. Sorry, I'm so sniffly today. Hay fever has been awful recently. Yeah, and up on the moors near our house, well, I say near our house, it's not near, it's a good 15-20 miles, but we had 15 miles, is it 15 miles? I don't really know. Anyway, a distance away, close enough to affect us but not close enough to be dangerous, we had some moorland fires. So there's been a lot of smoke coming across a few weeks back, and it's still in the air, all the particulate, so when it rains it smells of smoke again. Anyway, so on to stash enhancement. Okay, here we go. So I have just grabbed, because there has been more than this, I'm very, very honest, and I will always be honest. There has been more of this, but I decided to just pick out some that were either special or a bit different. So the first one that I have to show you is one of the first ones that's special, because this is some yarn that I won in a giveaway on Instagram of all things. I have never ever won a giveaway on Instagram, partly because I very rarely enter them, but I did in this instance. And it is this awesome, awesome skein of yarn from the very lovely Catherine at Crafternoon Treats. And it is, this was dyed for the Countess Ablaze Tits Out Collective. And it's called, it's the If I Want Exposure, I'll Get My Tits Out. It's basically been dyed to raise money for charity. There's a big backstory to it, which I shall try and summarise in my understanding as best as I can. Countess Blaze is a indie dyer in Manchester. Apparently she has a shop. I need to go and visit this shop because Manchester's short, hop and a skip away. And she was approached by a charity saying, we are arranging an afternoon event and we'd love you to give us some things for this event. And there was something around, you'll be able to get the exposure from it. And they wanted like access to a client list and all sorts of stuff and everything that she would do for free. And apparently it wasn't just the whole thing of, hello, you must need exposure and we can offer you that by you giving us stuff for free, which as any small business owner knows, it doesn't work. You know, there you go. They also made a reference to it being an event for basically middle-aged women who, so long as there was some tea and a tray bake, they would buy anything. Great. So apparently people are that bored. So she took the approach of, I'm going to turn this to good, and basically dyed up two colourways of yarn. One was called If I Want Exposure, I'll Get My Tits Out, and was these kind of purples, pinks and yellows. Very bright, the original, it's absolutely gorgeous. And the other one was, and pardon me for swearing, it was ship tea and tray bake. Love it. Tea is a bit of a northern thing. But anyway, so these two colourways were sold and money from the sales was donated to, I believe, Women's Refuge. So she turned something that could be negative into something for good, and I'm just like, I'm so in awe of her actually. I think that's just amazing. And to be very honest with you, I think that the planner community and the planner shop owner community could really take a leaf out of her book. I found her quite inspiring. And then what happened was somebody basically ripped off her colourway and copied it. So again, rather than doing the whole that's awful, woe is me, aren't I badly done to, blah blah blah, what Countess Blaze decided to do was create the Tits Out Collective. So she asked for any indie dyer who wanted to dye yarn using her colourways inspiration and donate to charity from the sale of that yarn, they could get involved. And I believe that there were over 200. She's just amazing. Isn't that amazing? What an awesome, awesome way to turn bad into good. I just love it. So Catherine at Crafting Treats did these skeins of yarn, and I think she did some fibre as well. And then she gave 2 away on her Instagram, and I won one. So yay. So this is the Crafternoon Corrie sock. It is 80% Corriedale wool and 20% nylon, non-superwash. Now this, because I can't wear wool up here, is definitely going to have to be socks. And she also included a little stitch marker, and it says on there, Crochet Queen. And I just think that is so, so lovely. So thank you very, very much, Catherine. I am excited to get that skeined up and caked up. It's in a skein now, caked up and cast on. Maybe that should be my next cast on for socks. That'd be quite fun. So that's that one. Then it was my birthday back in May, which goes to show how long it is since I have podcast, and I treated myself to some beautiful sock set and stitch marker from Lay Family Yarn, and it is the colourway birthday cake, I think it was. Crabapple and strawberry jam. I'm sure there was something to do with birthdays. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm just having a bit of a moment. I'm sure there was a birthday link with it. Never mind. Anyway, so the main skein is gorgeous and speckled and peach and browns and purples, and then it has this little contrasting or complementing mauve mini as well. So that's going to have to grow up to be socks. I also bought some more from Nora George, from Tracy over there, and this is the colourway Fleckle, which is a wonderful, wonderful word, and isn't it beautiful? And this is, I think it's normally a dyed to order colourway now, but there was just some in the shop and I was like, oh, I have to have it. But just all the speckles, just so lovely. So looking forward to playing with that. And the final little thing that I have to show you is something that I've never bought before, and it's a sock blank. It's from Cuddlebums and it is called Dye Day. D-Y-E. And yeah, so it's a sock blank, and so this is it. It comes like this. So it's all knitted up, or all knit up, and obviously you've got the end, and then you just sort of unravel from the end and cast on and knit away. Now obviously, because it's not symmetrical in any way and it's a single strand one, so it's not going to make matching socks. I actually think what I might try and do with this is make a scarf or a shawl, because I just think it would be really cool to have that rainbow, because it is a rainbow, effect in something with the nice